Welcome to our Trump Briefing Show. Today, we're diving into some hot topics. First up, President Trump is all set to sign a massive bill on July 4 at the White House, packed with tax cuts, spending reductions, and stricter immigration rules. While Republicans cheer, Democrats are worried about the impact on healthcare and the national deficit. It's a move that might shake up next year's elections. Next, we turn to Ukraine, or rather, the recent pause in U.S. military aid. The U.S. has temporarily stopped sending Patriot missiles and other crucial weapons, citing it as a one-off decision. Ukraine's leaders are concerned, especially as Russia continues its drone and missile strikes on Kyiv. European countries are stepping up, but the U.S.'s pause could make Ukraine's fight even tougher. Lastly, Russia launched its biggest missile and drone attack on Kyiv since the war started, causing destruction and casualties. Ukrainian President Zelenskyy called it a cynical terror act. Meanwhile, President Trump is optimistic about a ceasefire in Gaza, hoping Hamas will respond soon. The situation remains tense and unpredictable. Please continue to watch for more details. The Toronto Star reports that President Donald Trump is poised to sign a sweeping package of tax cuts and spending reductions during a 4th of July White House celebration, marking a significant and controversial legislative victory. This bill extends Trump's 2017 tax cuts, slashes Medicaid and food assistance programs, and boosts immigration enforcement, all while raising the national debt by over $3 trillion. The legislation, passed with narrow margins in Congress, is seen by Democrats as favoring the wealthy at the expense of lower-income Americans, leading to heated debates and protests. Trump celebrates the bill as a transformative achievement that will propel the country forward, but polls indicate mixed public support, especially regarding its long-term economic and social impacts. Deutsche Welle highlights the fragile U.S.-Ukraine relationship amid the ongoing conflict with Russia, focusing on a recent pause in U.S. arms shipments to Kyiv. Despite President Zelenskyy's urgent calls for clarity, the U.S. insists the shipment halt is a temporary measure aimed at balancing strategic interests, including support for other allies like Israel and regional defense needs. This pause comes as Russia escalates its drone strikes and military operations in Ukraine, threatening the country's ability to resist Russian advances. European nations have stepped up their support, with Denmark pushing for Ukraine's EU membership and Germany emphasizing its importance, but experts warn that continued U.S. hesitation could undermine Ukraine's defenses and prolong the conflict, exposing vulnerabilities in Western unity and strategic commitment. CNN reports that President Trump has intensified efforts to broker a ceasefire in Gaza, suggesting a potential 60-day truce with Hamas. He announced that a response from Hamas was expected within 24 hours to an updated proposal supported by Qatar and accepted by Israel. The plan involves the gradual release of hostages, including both living and deceased individuals, over the duration of the ceasefire, with negotiations for a permanent peace to follow. Trump urged Hamas to accept the deal, warning that conditions would only worsen if they did not. The agreement aims to facilitate humanitarian aid flow into Gaza and reduce hostilities, but uncertainties remain about Hamas's decision and the broader prospects for lasting peace in the region, with Israeli and Palestinian officials closely watching the developments. The New York Times vividly illustrates how the Trump administration's takeover of the Kennedy Center marks a profound shift in America's cultural landscape, transforming a once bipartisan sanctuary of free artistic expression into a tool for political propaganda. Trump's unprecedented appointment of loyalists to the center's board, and his effort to purge woke programming, symbolize an alarming attempt to manipulate culture to serve partisan interests. The article emphasizes that this move threatens the very essence of artistic freedom, likening it to historical regimes like Stalin's Soviet Union and Nazi Germany, where art was wielded as propaganda to reinforce authoritarian control. The arts, which historically have acted as a form of resistance during turbulent times, now face the risk of being silenced, with performances cancelled and institutions undermined, ultimately endangering the democratic fabric of the nation. The Toronto Star reports on the relentless escalation of Russia's missile and drone attacks on Kyiv, describing a nightmarish scene of destruction and chaos as Ukraine faces its largest assault since the war began. The city's residents, including a young wedding photographer whose home was destroyed, endured a sleepless night filled with explosions, sirens, and debris. Ukrainian President Zelenskyy's call with President Trump underscores the ongoing international effort to bolster Ukraine's defenses amid dwindling military aid, as Russia's long-range strikes intensify. The article highlights the grim reality of war's brutality, with Russia launching thousands of drones and missiles in a calculated effort to break Ukrainian resistance, while Ukrainian forces scramble to intercept and respond, reflecting a war of attrition that continues to devastate civilian lives and infrastructure. Deutsche Welle's coverage of Iran's nuclear ambitions reveals a defiant regime doubling down despite recent setbacks and international pressure. Iran's decision to suspend cooperation with the IAEA, following Israeli and U.S. airstrikes on its nuclear sites, underscores its resilience and determination to maintain its nuclear program as a symbol of national strength. The article traces Iran's nuclear history from its U.S.-supported origins in the 1950s, through its tumultuous post-revolution period, to its current status with advanced centrifuges and enriched uranium. Despite international efforts, including the JCPOA agreement, Iran's refusal to relinquish its nuclear capabilities and its perception of deterrence, shaped by lessons from Libya and North Korea, highlight the complex, ongoing struggle over nuclear proliferation and regional security. The article warns that Iran's nuclear program remains a formidable challenge, with many facilities still intact and the regime unlikely to capitulate easily, signaling a persistent threat in a volatile geopolitical landscape. Deutsche Welle reports that the BRICS alliance, a coalition of emerging economies led by China, Russia, and India, is striving to project unity amid internal disputes and external pressures. The recent summit in Rio de Janeiro aimed to foster cooperation among the Global South and address key issues such as vaccine access, climate change, and artificial intelligence ethics. However, the absence of China's Xi Jinping and Russia's Vladimir Putin, who will join via video, highlight ongoing tensions and differing agendas within the group. While BRICS seeks to challenge Western dominance and establish alternative financial institutions like the New Development Bank, internal disagreements over geopolitical issues, such as Russia's war in Ukraine and Brazil's refusal to join China's Belt and Road Initiative, threaten its cohesion. Despite representing a significant share of the world's population and GDP, the group remains a loose alliance, struggling to translate its potential influence into a formidable alternative to Western-led institutions or to present a unified front on global crises, especially when members prioritize bilateral deals over collective action. CNN details the perilous impact of the U.S. pause on military aid to Ukraine, particularly the suspension of missile shipments crucial for defending against Russian aerial assaults. The Biden administration's decision to halt some aid, including Patriot missile systems, has sparked outrage in Kyiv, where Ukrainian officials emphasize these defenses are vital for protecting civilians amid relentless Russian drone and missile attacks. The pause, driven by a review aligned with President Trump's America First policies, risks deepening Ukraine's vulnerability, as Russian strikes, some causing mass casualties, continue unabated. The limited production capacity of Patriot systems, their high costs, and the growing global demand for advanced missile defenses compound the challenge. Experts warn that this aid suspension could embolden Russia's military advances and undermine Ukraine's resilience, with previous delays in U.S. support correlating with Russian territorial gains. The situation underscores the delicate balance of U.S. military backing and the potential consequences of strategic pauses in a conflict where every missile and defense system can mean the difference between survival and catastrophe. South China Morning Post explores China's potential to leverage its technological innovation to mend strained U.S.-China relations and revitalize American industrial regions. American scholar Robert Pape highlights how China's model of integrating university research with manufacturing, exemplified by cities like Wuhan, could serve as a blueprint for revitalizing the U.S. Rust Belt, fostering economic growth and cooperation. Pape emphasizes that China's focus on domestic-driven innovation might allow it to ascend peacefully to superpower status, especially if the U.S. shifts away from confrontational policies and addresses its internal divisions. The analysis underscores the stark contrast between China's rapid technological progress and the U.S.'s stagnation, which is hampered by political polarization and social unrest. Pape suggests that sustained, moderate responses from China and a focus on mutually beneficial economic ties could ease tensions, but warns that the U.S.'s internal turmoil and aggressive foreign policies, exemplified by Trump's administration, pose significant obstacles to long-term stability and cooperation. Ultimately, China's innovation-driven growth and strategic moderation could redefine global power dynamics if both nations learn to align their interests constructively. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.
Lights dim, voices loud, headlines flashing loud. World in a frame and now, stories told, it's time to vow. Eyes glued, truth pursued, understanding woven through. Heartbeats race breaking through, knowledge spreads the new view. Breaking the news, breaking the day, truth and insight our way. Every story, every play, live and clear we convey. Shadows lift, facts unfold, moments chasing, stories told. Heroes, villains, tales of old. In this hour, truth is gold. Depths revealed, voices bright, news in focus, black and white. Every angle sheds some light, morning, evening, through the night. Breaking the news, breaking the day, truth and insight our way. Every story, every play, live and clear we convey. Truth and insight our way. Truth and insight our way. Breaking the news, breaking the day, truth and insight our way. Every story, every play, living clear we convey. Every story, every play, and clear we convey. Truth and insight our way. Truth and insight our way. Depths revealed, voices bright, news in focus, black and white. Every angle sheds some light, morning, evening, through the night.